Been through the flame, now get out the way. Whole lot of change, still been the same, put that on the name. I had to go through it just to get to it, look what I became. Elevate, level up, way to the top.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Star Motivates You. I'm Glenda Baker, along with the beautiful and talented Star Singletary.
Hey.
We would like to take this opportunity to thank Best Buy for proudly sponsoring us. On tonight's episode, we are thrilled to have Jeff East, actor, writer, and producer. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Jeff.
My pleasure, Glenda. Nice to be with you.
It's a pleasure having you here.
Okay, well, question one. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and I have a twin sister. And I started acting pretty young when I was like fifth grade. My sister Jane was in a ballet class, and they decided they were going to do Midsummer's Night's Dream. And they needed a boy. It was an all-girls dance class. They needed a boy to play Puck. So they asked me to come down, and I was, just jumping around on the stage. And they said, "You're perfect." So they taught me how to dance, and they taught me what my moves would be. And that's where it started when I was like fifth grade. Then I started a band. And then in 1972, Reader's Digest and United Artists had come to Kansas City to audition boys and girls for the movie Tom Sawyer, which they were getting ready to shoot in Missouri, in Arrow Rock, Missouri. This was in June of 1972. And I ended up getting the coveted role of Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, wow.
In the movie Tom Sawyer with Johnny Whitaker and Jodie Foster. And what an experience that was. It was incredible. My mom's best friend was an actress in Kansas City, and she had heard about the audition, and that's how I got in to meet with them. But she knew that I had some interest in acting as a child, and I was 14 at that time, so I was the perfect age for what they were looking for. And that ended up changing my life for about 38 years.
That's great. Awesome.
So did you always want to act and be in the film industry ever since you were young?
I didn't know about the film industry. I liked being on stage. I liked performing in front of people. I liked singing. So I had a knack for it, and I felt comfortable with it. It was just something in my personality that I felt comfortable being on stage and having people laugh and making them feel good. Then when I got into acting on film, I really liked it. I thought, wow, this is great. What a great thing to be being paid for and getting to do something that's fun and exciting. I mean, it was unbelievable. 14, it's crazy. Of course, your whole world changes. Friends treat you differently, and things are kind of unusual for your family at the time, and they have to travel with you because you're a minor. But I got one film after another. It was crazy. From the time I was 14 until I was in my mid-20s, I was constantly working. And because I got Huckleberry Finn the following year, this is the 50th anniversary of the release of Huckleberry Finn, which we shot in Natchez, Mississippi and Nauvoo, Illinois, but we were in Natchez most of the time. That was an incredible experience. Natchez is beautiful if you get a chance to go down there. It's right on the Mississippi River. And of course, we spent 3 months there, Paul Winfield and myself and Harvey Korman, shooting that film. And this is 2024. That's 50 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. But then I graduated from high school and started going to college out in LA and started looking into acting seriously, studying the art form and studying acting. And then I got Superman while I was going to UCLA. And I ended up going to London for a year shooting that film. And we were in Canada for a month, but most of the time we were in London shooting. And that kind of changed a lot of things for me as well in my career. I went from being Huck Finn to the young Superman, which was quite a change, and a lot different audience and a bigger audience. So I had a lot more people were more interested in me. Once you get to that level, you get into a film like that. It's very, very, very. It's kind of strange. It's hard to get used to, but you kind of deal with it. And I basically grew up in the film business. I grew up out in Hollywood, from 14 all the way until I left in 2004. Moved back to Kansas City and did some stuff with my father. Got into real estate development. And then I met my wife in 2012, and she's from France. So she asked me to come visit her in France after coming to visit me, introducing herself. And I ended up moving to Nice, which is where I'm at.
It's incredible.
That is incredible.
Pretty
Could you
crazy
tell us
life.
a little? Yeah, could you tell us a little bit more about Huckleberry, the Huckleberry film?
Sure. It's funny. We were shooting in Natchez, and there was it was strange because there was a lot of problems with the locals that we were doing the story to begin with. And I thought, well, why is that? And you got this feeling from people there was still a lot of the Jim Crow stuff going on, and it was 1973, so things had not quite cleared up. It wasn't normal for me. I'd never witnessed anything like that. I mean, they wouldn't even let Paul Winfield, Academy Award nominated actor, he couldn't even eat in the cafe at the motel. So that was kind of strange. And I didn't like that. And they had problems with him in the pool, and we went back and forth. So we had some issues with that and some pressures from the locals, but it turned out to be a good experience after all. It was hard work, and it was really hot, very hot down in Natchez in the summer. And the humidity is really strong. And we're on the river quite a bit. And I got along great with the crew, with the cast. And it was just, just having a good time. I was 15. And local people I got to be friends with, we all became really good friends. I still speak to them some to this day. And just a very friendly atmosphere. I just had to get used to being in the deep South because it was different back then. Now, you guys probably know this has all changed. Thank God it's changed. But it was a different experience for me. I'd never experienced anything like that. And so it kind of taught me a lesson about life. And of course, the book itself is very controversial. And we tried to stick as close to the plan of the book as possible. There were some changes that were made, but the Sherman Brothers wrote all the music, and they had done Tom Sawyer as well. So I was still working with the same group that had done Tom Sawyer, did Huckleberry Finn. So that was a nice experience.
So tell us a little bit about, so after Superman, the movie became so iconic. Tell us about your career after that film.
Got a lot of work. I was working a lot. I was being paid more money because of that film. Then I got managers, and I got publicists, and I got this, and I got that, and I was spending a lot of money. And I ended up, a couple of years later, I got married and started a family. So that was a stress. But I was busy, very busy. I was very sought after, and it was great. I like that. It's tough, though. I always got rejected. There's some rejection there. But I got interested in theater and started studying more about the theater. And because that's really kind of where I wanted to go. And so I ended up doing some theater and studying with some private coaches. And but Superman really set the scale. It was just completely different. From Huck Finn, which was a big film, it's just that Superman went to the next level. And to this day, people won't let me forget that I'm Clark Kent. But for so many years I was Huck Finn, and I also did a lot of Disney stuff, a lot of Disney films. But what amazes me, and I go to a lot of these Comic Cons, is the way the film affected people. And it just blows my mind with the things people say to me, and it makes me feel good. But I had no idea that movie would mean so much. It affected people when they were children, with the loss of their fathers. It affected people when they had to leave home, saying goodbye to their mothers. It affected them about being picked on by kids, and knowing that they were better than that, and the bullying and all that, and just the whole idea of the film and the role that I played. I am really touched by how people were so caught by the film, and that made a big impact. I went on to do another film that made a huge impact called The Day After, which was about the nuclear holocaust. And I had to go back to my hometown of Kansas City to make the film, which is about the annihilation of the world, basically. And that was kind of a depressing film to work on, even though it was very important. And this was during the Cold War of the 80s. And so it was a very important, when the film got released, it was very well, big film. And one of the reasons I got that film was because of Superman, I'm sure. Um, but getting the role in Superman was a big change for me. And I got it based on Richard Donner, the director, had seen me in another movie called The Hazing. And he'd interviewed the editor of that film. And she was showing clips from the film of me in it. And he was wondering, well, who's that kid running on the track? And that's that guy, the guy I'm looking for, somebody like that. He ended up having me come in and read. I didn't even read. I just talked to him. And then he asked me if I had a passport. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, you're going to London tomorrow. I'm giving you the role of young Superman. I said, no, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not wearing no uniform with a cape and all that. I'm not putting that on. No way. He goes, no, you don't have to worry about that. You get to play the real guy, the human side of Superman. I went, oh, well, now I'm interested. So I ended up flying to London the next day. And, but it was great. But that Superman really took me to a different level as an actor in film. But my real instincts were telling me to study. Don't let it get to your head. Just be normal. And, it's a strange thing when you start getting recognized by people. It's very, very strange. I didn't feel comfortable with it. I still don't feel comfortable with it. And the autograph shows kind of make me feel weird. I just like talking to the people. I like to meet with the fans, and I like to hear what they have to say. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that they feel good about it. That's what I like. I like the human aspect of it. The fame and the fortune and all that and the money you make, it's like big deal.
That's right.
So what are you working on now as of today?
I'm developing a mini series for the networks, which is about the turn of the century and at the last days of Bill Tillman, the marshal, and all the things that happened to him. And it's the change of the industrial age, dealing with the Pendergast machine in Kansas City, dealing with the oil wildcatters in Oklahoma, and dealing with all the trials and tribulations he had with his own family and an adopted son that got involved with Pendergast. And it's called The Lawman. And it's based on The Guardsman, which is a true story. But Bill Tillman was the sheriff or the marshal who took out, like the Wild Bunch, for example, was one of the groups that he took out and arrested or killed. And it's all the stuff that's happening at that time in the turn of the century when cars started to come in and horses were no longer needed, and all the changes with prohibition and all the changes with the oil companies coming in and all the stuff that went on in all the wildcat towns of Oklahoma. And it's quite a big subject. I've been working on that for like 2 years with Ron Parker, the writer. And I have 2 or 3 other good projects I can't talk about because of confidentiality at this time. We're in negotiations with the studios, but I'm a producer and a writer, co-writer. And if they offer me, if they want me to do a role in the film, I'll do it, or in the show. That's fine. I'm still acting. I'm doing some theater here in France. There's an English theater group here in France. And I'm, I just interested in other projects and want to get them developed and produced. And the writing, people are trying to get me to write a book about myself and about my life and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I'd rather write a book about something else. Living in France, there's all kinds of things that happen here that I could write about as an American. And I think it'd be more interesting to people to read. And that's where I'm at. And living life and having a good time with my wife, Pascal.
Living the life. Love it. So tell us, did you ever get a chance to work beside an actress that you always wanted to work with?
Oh, well, Jodie Foster, for one. She was great. 9 years old, she was speaking fluent French.
Wow.
And she was, she was a pretty smart person. And very interesting young lady. And then I got to know her again, meet with her. I got to work with Angie Dickinson, who I loved working with. She was fabulous. Couldn't have been nicer and funnier and more professional. And I really dug working with her. Margot and Kidder and I got to be good friends because we basically were together for the whole entire film. She flew over with me and she was testing for the role of Lois Lane. So she was an interesting lady. Miss her. She was a friend. And, I never really, I had a lot of good experiences with Susan Buckner from Deadly Blessing, Sharon Stone. We got to work with Wes Craven down in Texas. That was a fun film to work on. And I really dug, Sharon was great. That was her first film. And so she was a lot of fun. And we kid her about her not knowing her lines and trying to teach her how to hit her mark. But she eventually got it. But she went on to be big. And we were still friends. But gosh, think of all the actors I worked with. I worked with some really good. How the West was one I really liked working on. That cast was great to work with, and I got to play a bad guy in that. I played a horse wrestler, and actually was working with the cast, and it just got to the point where they thought I was doing get into the part too much. So James Arness said, I'll slow him down. And when we did the scene, he smacks me, and he actually made contact. And I go down on the ground like, oh, Jimmy, whoa. But that was quite an experience. And the lady cast on that is fantastic to work with. And lot of good actresses I worked with over the years. Many, many good ones.
That's good. And what was it like working in the horror film Pumpkinhead?
Oh, Pumpkinhead.
Mhm.
Whoa. Well, to be honest with you, I got tired of the wind, the dirt, and the dust, and the rocks, and the things being blown in my face every night. We're out in the canyon, and they're like, "Okay, turn the fans on," and it makes it look like it's scarier. And then the Pumpkinhead Tom Woodruff's in that thing. He gets into that suit, and it was a pretty scary thing. And I remember my son came out to visit, and he just scared the heck out of him. He was just laying in the back of this truck. We were getting ready to shoot, and Tom's laying down in the back of the truck, and the Pumpkinhead gets out of it and goes, oh, like that. My kid, like, but it was fun. I had a good time on Pumpkinhead. Wow, that film is popular. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
I can't believe how popular that film is.
If they ever did a remake of Pumpkinhead, would you be in it again as a
absolutely. Yeah, if they asked me to do it. They're trying to get me. I'm supposed to be doing this show in Orlando called Spookfest, I believe it's called, or Spooky Empire. Spooky Empire, and they got Tom Woodruff's going to be there, and they want me to come, and I'm trying to make it. I'm going to try and get there to Orlando in October. But that Pumpkinhead is amazing. How many people ask me about that movie? Almost as many as Superman, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Well, thank you.
So was it your dream to become an actor, or did you have other plans, or you just knew you wanted to be an actor?
I think I always wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
Or a singer. I kind of wanted to be a lounge singer. I really liked singing in a band. I loved doing that, and I had 3 bands. Even while I was doing the acting, we had a band. Me and Mark McClure, who played Jimmy Olsen in Superman, we had a band together called The Planet, and we toured around LA and San Diego, and we opened for a couple of big acts. But it was a rock and roll band. Then I ended up doing a series on CBS where I was the singing voice for Meatball and Spaghetti, and that was on CBS, and I was Meatball, and it was fun. We got to write our own music for that. I like writing. I love writing, and I usually write about things that I'm familiar with and things that affect my life, and that interests me more than anything now, for sure. Stick to what you know, things that you know about, because it always, if you try to write something that you're not familiar with and it's not a part of your life, it tends to get lost in the translation, in my opinion.
Right. What are some of the hobbies that you like to do?
I like golfing. I like poker.
Yeah.
Love playing poker. Um, um, I don't know, writing lyrics to songs, just kind of fun.
That's
See if I
what's
can
up.
do it. I've never really gotten anything published, but I'd like to. I'd like to try.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, cooking. I like to cook. You know, especially living in France. There's a lot of influence here on the cooking, and I enjoy making dinners for my wife, and it's just her and I, and it's fun. And she works and comes home, and she can enjoy a dinner made by an American with a little French flavor. But she likes America. She likes the breakfast that you guys have and the barbecue that they have there. And she's like, "Oh, America!" Ooh. They talk about the breakfast a lot. What a big deal that is. It's funny how the Europeans are.
True. And what's some of your favorite? Who's your favorite NFL team?
Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a Kansas City boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love May Holmes and Travis Kelsey, and their coach is great. I love their coach. That's a great team. And now they got this new kid. This I think is Worthy. Ooh, he's fast. He took the place of Tyreek Hill, and he is fast. I mean, and he can catch. And watch out. Watch out. You guys are Carolina Panther fans, huh?
Nah, New Orleans Saints.
Oh, the Saints are good this year.
Yeah, they are.
They were good against Dallas.
Dallas ain't doing so well.
That was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. I like New Orleans.
Huh?
How about you, Glenda? What's your favorite team?
You know what? I don't watch like a lot of NFL. I like college football. I'm for the Vols, of course, because I'm from Tennessee. So they're actually doing really well this year.
Yeah,
The Vols.
no kidding. They're top dog team.
Yeah.
I'm from Missouri, so I like Missouri, but Tennessee, you got to watch out for.
Right.
They're tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year for Tennessee.
I think they'll give Georgia a hard time.
I think so this year. I think we're going to actually win one, hopefully.
I think so.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been a while since Peyton Manning played there, so that'll be fun to see.
He was great. Yeah. It was one of the best.
Are you from Nashville?
Knoxville.
Knoxville, okay.
Yeah.
My wife wanted me to we went to Memphis to see Graceland. So we drove down to Memphis and from Kansas City and really liked it down there.
It's beautiful down there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But that was quite an experience to go see Graceland.
Yeah, I actually went to Graceland, but they were closed when I got there, so I didn't get to see it. So hopefully we'll get to go back. I would love to.
Oh yeah, you got to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there.
What's some of the commercials you were in as a kid?
Oh, a lot. I did a lot of commercials. That's how I stayed alive. My biggest one was a Toyota Camry commercial where I borrowed my neighbor's car, his brand new Camry, and the guy says, "Be careful! It's a 5-speed and it's pretty fast." And so I get in the car and I'm going crazy up and down the hills, and I get out and I go, "I got to go buy one of these. This is a great car." And you see me up over the car, up in the air, and they played the heck out of that commercial back in 1989. And then I did Pizza Hut commercial. I did John Hancock. That's how you survive in Hollywood. You got to do commercials. And made good money on residuals. Basically, I was just an actor. I never had to do anything else. But because of commercials, and it's a steady flow of income. But I probably did 100 commercials, something like that. I did a lot.
Well,
I worked with the guy Pitka. Joe Pitka directed me in a lot of them, and he was an interesting cat to work with. He does a lot of big commercials on TV.
Big commercial. Okay.
So, if you could give any advice to some upcoming actors, what would that advice be?
take acting lessons. It doesn't hurt. If you get a job, make sure you show up on time, make your call, know your lines, know your marks. You know, basically listen, learn to listen. A lot of actors don't know how to listen. A lot of people don't know how to listen. It's important that you listen to what the director has to say to you and what your other actors are saying to you with their lines. And I think if you just stick to that and you be yourself, you'll do well. At any age you can start. You don't have to be a certain age to start acting. You can start when you're 5. You can start when you're 10 or 20. Even later in life, you can start. It's just there are certain things that you got to learn to do, and don't be scared of rejection. And don't let it get you down. It happens, especially in Hollywood. The rejection rate is huge, and I got lucky, really lucky, with the amount of time that I got hired. But there were a lot of times when I didn't get hired, and I felt terrible about it. And I kind of regret feeling bad about it because you shouldn't. You got to move on. Right. You just weren't right, or they weren't looking for this type, or you just didn't do something right in the reading. So what? You move on. You learn from your mistakes. Learn how to fall down. Learn how to get back up. That's basically it.
That's great advice.
We'd
like to thank you so much for being on the show, Jeff. Is there a place that our audience can go to find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook, Jeff East. On IMDb is they do all the stuff that I'm working on and getting ready to do and to keep it updated. And basically, I don't have a website. I know I should have one, but I don't. But keep your eye out for the Lawman soon. And I'll touch back with you and let you know and keep you updated.
We would love that. We'd love to have you on the show. And again, in the future, we really appreciate you being on tonight.
Thanks, Glenda. Thank you, Star.
Thank you. We'd like to take the time to thank Best Buy for proudly sponsoring us. And again, to thank Jeff East for kindly being on our episode tonight. We hope you guys will tune in again next Sunday at 7:30 for another great episode of Star Motivate You. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Take care.
You ain't the same. Get in your lane, stay in your lane. Wait, this ain't a game. Been through the flame, now get out the way. Whole lot of change. Still been the same, put that on the name. I had to go through it just to get to it. Look what I became. Elevate, level up, way to the top, headed to the peak.